Hi Sec 3 and 4 students taking O-Level G3 or Pure Bio. If you want to score A1 or A2 without spending tons of time studying, ThatBioTutor is Singapore's first and only O-Level G3 or Pure Bio specialist that gives you huge improvements while cutting down 90% of your studying time. In this video, I'm going to show you the one missing key that will help you go from failing to A1. We've used this on our own students, and you can pause the screen and look at the results. This is like our TBT Hall of Fame, where many of the students who were scoring really bad grades like F9, E8, and D7 managed to make huge improvements like to B3, A2, and even A1. Now, this is only for Singapore Sec 3 and 4 students, and if you are a parent of such a student, then you are also welcome to watch this video. We only teach O-Level G3 a pure biology, not combined, not N-level, not IP. We are super hyper-focused on just this syllabus, so we can say with a clear conscience that yeah, we really are the best in the country for this exact subject and syllabus. You must have a self-driven desire to improve in the subject, and if you're someone who is being forced by your parents to join tuition for the sake of it, then please don't join. So in the next few minutes, I'll cover these two things. Number one, that study prep resources are the one missing key, and without it, you will be wasting 90% of your study time. Number two is that at ThatBioTutor, the study prep resources are done for you, so you can study smart and spend your time on the important 10%. First, tell me if this is you. Are you very lost in the content? Or maybe you're not so bad, but some of your concepts need to be strengthened, and you want to improve your memory retention. Or maybe your content is quite okay, you would say you are like 7 out of 10. But when your test results come back, they are always worse than expected for the open-ended questions due to the poor answering skills. You've probably tried these things like studying your school notes, the textbook, making your own notes, trying to memorize by reading and then reciting to yourself, doing what I call the hope and pray method of practice questions, hoping that somehow by doing more questions, your skills will improve. Or maybe you've even attended other bio tuitions. Now, it sucks because I know that you guys are sincerely trying to improve. Plus, you have so many other commitments and subjects, so the demand on you is very stressful. At this point, you might be wondering, wait, who's this guy and why should you listen to anything he has to say? My name is Keith, I'm the founder of ThatBioTutor. For secondary school, I went to Raffles Institution. Then I went to Raffles Junior College, where I scored all A's in my A levels. I was then offered a scholarship by NUS. Here's TBT's combined years track record. 1 in every 4 students score A1, 2 in 3 students score A1 or A2, and 94% score B3 or higher. Take for example Yongcheng, who went from E8 to A1 even though he only joined 3 months before the O-levels. Or Gwen, who was at F9. She's really low confidence, low hope in this subject, but she miraculously scored A1 in the O-levels. Or Isaac, who started at E8 and he was struggling to understand the content, struggling to score marks for OEQs, just like many of you, and he went to A2 in the O-levels. So do you want to be our next success story? Do you want to shock your friends and your teachers by your huge grade improvements and become known for that student who scores high in bio? If yes, then stick around. Okay, here's why what you've been doing isn't working anymore. For solving the problem of content, right? For content, a lot of us read the textbook and the school notes, but they are way too thick and the notes are so overcrowded. We don't know what is actually important to learn. And therefore, we need a concise reference material. For memorizing, like I said earlier, students just read it again and again and then they recite to themselves. Now, this can work, but it takes a ton of time and you need better memorization methods. For answering skills, a lot of students say they don't know what the most important keywords or the phrasing needed to score the marks. So for this, what you need is a question types resource plus the model answers so you can hit the right keywords and phrasing every single time. Introducing ThatBioTutor's FastTrack System. So this is the secret of how we get our students to improve in such a short time while studying way less than they would otherwise have. First, let me explain to you how I discovered the need for this. When I was a student, it wasn't all smooth sailing. I also had the same problem with bio OEQs, just like you guys. I then realized that for each question type, there is a template answer that if you give the right keywords and if you give the right phrasing, you pretty much always will score full marks for that question type. So I started to compile commonly asked questions for every topic. And this was hard work, it takes very long time to make. I have to go through TYS, I have to go through past year's papers. And as a student, I wasn't sure whether my answers are all accurate because this wasn't given to me by an expert. I was coming up with it myself back then. But the effort paid off and eventually I was able to write answers like these, which scored full marks and praise from the examiner. And this is actual exam questions where it was under time pressure. Plus, this is actually JC Bio, so for O-Level G3 or Pure Bio, we definitely can score like this or better. Another problem I had, like many of you guys, is memorization. So in JC, there was this organic chemistry equations and there were a lot of them. They're so weird. You have to memorize the temperature, the pressure, you have to memorize the catalyst involved, the numbers, and so on. So after 6 months of trying to memorize it the usual way that a lot of us do, I decided, okay, I give up. I have to try another method. So I made flashcards and these work magic. So in just 2 weeks of using them, around 10 to 15 minutes each day. After 2 weeks, if you ask me any of the equations, I could just give it to you like the back of my hand. So I applied this also to bio definitions and again, it worked like magic. Now, why didn't I use it for the whole syllabus? Well, because it just took too long to make and I got other subjects to do. And so this is where I realized I really wish someone handed to me all these resources, then I don't need to spend so much time making them myself. And this is the one missing key, that 90% of a student's time is always spent in study preparation, making notes, finding ways to memorize, making flashcards, compiling the commonly asked questions yourself. And then only 10% of your time is spent actually memorizing, actually practicing the questions. And this is what gives you the most results. So just imagine if all the study preparation was done for you. It'd be like strapping on a jetpack for a 100-meter race. And that's exactly what we've done for you at TBT with our FastTrack system. So I don't have time to go through every single item here, but let me give you a sneak peek. Starting off with the first main problem students have, which is content foundation. So one of the study prep resources that we will need is concise and reliable notes, so we know what actually is important to study for. And that's where our notes come in. They're extremely concise. It's just what the O-levels requires and nothing else. They're organized, so it's easy to find what you need, and the digital version you can just Ctrl F. They're colorful, so it's not boring to study, and they are accurate, because unlike other school notes that often take very slow to be updated, this is ex-MOE teacher reviewed, and we update it literally every few days. Whenever we find something small that we can improve, we will do it. And it's been refined over years. So it's been so good that some students solely rely on our notes, and they metaphorically threw away their textbook and school notes. So I got this message from a student who, actually I don't know who she is, because she didn't even join our tuition class before. But she said she used our free notes, and just from that, she was able to secure an A1 for bio. And that's how potent these notes can be. And we have lots more other reviews. You can see that on our website. And the good news of this is that I'm giving it for free, right? We intend for this to be free forever to the whole public, to the whole Singapore. And you can get them if you haven't already got them at this link. The purpose is to let you experience a piece of our FastTrack system so you can feel the benefits yourself before you proceed to join our class and access the rest of the system. The second main problem that students have is memorization. And one of the better memorization techniques is called active recall. And this has been thoroughly backed by research. So what active recall means is just retrieving information from your head without looking at it, and this strengthens your long-term memory. So how you can do that is flashcards. Like I've already mentioned, I did this myself when I was a student. So as a TBT student, you have access to this. It's an app on your phone, so it's very convenient to bring around. And so how it works is there's a question on one side, you press it, and then it shows you the answer. We also have content flashcards and diagram flashcards, which are really good for memorizing all the various parts of bio diagrams. When I was a student, I used to do this when I'm commuting, like on the train, MRT, bus, and also when I'm queuing for food during recess, because these are the wasted times, right? But I turn them into efficient studying time so that later when I go home, I don't have so much work to do. Now, the third major problem students experience is answering skills. The good news is that we can hack the OEQ system in the exams. So like I mentioned earlier, there are these common question types that will come out for many exams. So what we've done here is that we've gone through past TYS, we've gone through past year papers, school papers, and so on, and we've consolidated that these are the commonly asked questions for every topic. So we compile the most frequently tested definitions, MCQ questions, and most importantly, the OEQ questions. So it comes with bolded keywords, so you know exactly what are the important words, and the right phrasing. We also try to trim down the phrasing so that we can jam pack as many keywords as possible while helping you save time because you're not writing too long of an answer. So if you were to study this, you will be studying smart. We also try to keep our answers as short as possible so you won't waste time in the exam writing too long of an answer. This way, instead of doing tons of questions, you now know which question to actually prioritize and how to score full marks for each of them. And this is how you study smart for OEQs. Now you might be wondering, will this also work for application questions? And the answer is yes, because only the question is changed in application questions. The answers still come from the syllabus. That's because the setters are chained to the syllabus. You see, if they set some question where it requires you to give an answer out of syllabus, they will be fired, right? So they have no choice. So as a student, once you've learned the foundation, which is the CAQs, application questions are so much easier because you just take the CAQs and you adapt it into the answer. I'd like you to meet Gareth. He here, as well as a lot of you, have the same problem of struggling in open-ended questions. But here's how he overcame it and scored A1 in his prelims and O-levels.
Due to the demands of biology, especially in OEQs, I do not really know what's the approach or the direction I should be taking when answering. And this really led to me writing a lot of irrelevant answers, and it not only wasted my time, but most of what I written was actually incorrect, and I also don't get the mark. When we do OEQs with him, he will actually tell us, what is important, so we actually know what to look out for and what to write in our answers. And he also really emphasizes on making our answers as short as possible by dropping connectors and just spamming keywords. And this really got me back on track, and I actually knew how to answer OEQ's questions from there. So as time went by, I got more and more familiar with the process. Bio didn't seem as hard as before, and I really started to enjoy the process from studying bio already, which caused one of the more crazy improvements I had, which is from the B to C range to eventually an A1 in the O-levels and my prelim examinations.
In short, you will have everything here. You need to, number 1, fix your content foundation fast. Number 2, memorize easily. And number 3, improve at OEQ so fast it feels like you're cheating. But actually, this is just studying smart. So I hope that you see now, this is the one missing key. That students always don't have good study prep resources, so they gotta make it themselves and it wastes a lot of their time. Plus, they are not sure whether their resources that they're making are even good. So remember Isaac from just now who went from E8 to A2? He said that his school's materials were very insufficient. Most of the notes didn't contain the precise keywords needed to score the points. And after he joined TBT, he was able to understand concepts much more easily due to the help of the resources provided, such as the notes and so on. So at this point, you might be like, okay, yes, I want this boost, I want this advantage, I want to cut down my studying time. So if I join TBT, what else will I get as a student other than the FastTrack system? So from this point of the video onwards, I'm going to show you what you will get as a student here at TBT. Firstly, you'll get weekly lessons worth $150 a week. Now this is in-depth content teaching because a lot of you in school, you're not getting it. You're not getting proper teaching and sometimes your teachers just rush through the content. We standardize what we teach across the tutors. It's the same framework, same methods, so you get the same quality no matter which lesson you attend. We go through OEQs every lesson because we want you to become a pro at it. And each lesson is 2 hours. It's in person or online. It's your choice. There are lots of motivating treats every lesson because we want you to enjoy the experience and then naturally your motivation for this subject will go up. So those are the weekly lessons. On top of that, you'll get WhatsApp help worth $50 a week. Now, any normal student who is studying will always have questions and doubts. You can try to research this yourself. You can Google, ChatGPT, but often you get contradicting answers or you get stuff that's just way too out of syllabus. You can also ask your friends, but often that's like the blind leading the blind and none of you are really sure. Or you can try to ask your school teacher, but sometimes they just never reply you because they are also too busy. And so this is why we allow our students to ask questions anytime throughout the week to their tutor. It gives you so much peace and it just calms your anxiety down because you know that, oh, I have this doubt and then now it's solved. Plus, if you can clear your doubts quickly, you will progress way faster. Just imagine how a lot of tuitions, they don't allow their students to ask questions throughout the week. So you have to wait 7 days before you can meet your tutor and then clarify your doubts. Compare this to our student who you can ask every day and pretty much once a day you can get an answer. So you'll be progressing 7 times as fast. Meet Aryan who went from C6 to A2. And he said this, he said that his chemistry tuition, right? His tutor blocked him because he asked too many questions. But here at TBT, it was a complete opposite. He can ask so many questions and he will get his answers really quick. So once again, you're going to get weekly lessons and WhatsApp help that you can ask your tutor questions anytime. You're also going to get access to our full range of notes. So that's TBT's full topical notes, as well as our full commonly asked questions notes. This is for the open-ended questions. You'll also get access to our bonus notes like mind maps for every chapter, practical tips, practical CAQs, yes, there are common questions for practical exam, OEQ answering techniques where we put all the tips into one place, and exam hacks, just to name some of them. So you'll be getting weekly lessons, WhatsApp help, and notes. But there's still more. You'll get crash course clips worth $900. So how we made this is we went through our past lessons, we cut out all the important concepts that we've taught for every chapter and we organize them neatly for you. It's kind of like Netflix for bio. You can just go into the specific concept you need to revise and then get a reteaching of it. Now this is because every student will forget some concepts or maybe they were just never properly taught to you in school last time. So you need re-explanations of these unsure concepts and that's exactly what this does for you. On top of this, you're going to get the past lessons worth $2,000. So you can rewatch any past lesson recording of the year and this includes all associated worksheets like the homework answer, and any other documents. So to recap, you'll be getting weekly lessons, WhatsApp help, notes, crash course clips, and past lesson recordings. You're also going to get flashcards worth $300. So unlike me where I had to make it myself as a student and spend so many hours, we've put in all that time for you and made it so you can just download and use. So here are definition flashcards, we also have content flashcards and diagram flashcards. Now there's another science-backed strategy called spaced repetition, which pairs well with active recall. And what it means is basically you space out the number of times that you're testing yourself, but further and further intervals. So it's a harder challenge for your brain. Now this is not compulsory for our students at all, it's just a luxury tool if you want to use it. So I actually went a bit crazy and I went to make a Excel spreadsheet with automatic formulas. So if you were to just put in the date that the first time you studied it, it will auto-generate for you for the rest of the year when are the next dates that you're supposed to study, and it increases the interval for you automatically. And at the bottom, there's a reminder of this week, what are the topics you need to revise. So you're going to get weekly lessons, WhatsApp help, notes, crash course clips, past lesson recordings, and flashcard. But wait, there's one more. So we've bought over 200 plus past year papers for you, and it's all in our Google Drive. All our students can access them. This way you don't need to spend the money yourself on buying them.
I don't really know what I don't like about the class because it already offered a lot more than what a regular tuition would. You give out your own free notes. You give us a lot of past exam papers. You let us replay lessons, give us 24/7 consultations. You really give us a lot more than any student could ask for. 5-star experience because I actually did make an improvement thanks to the notes and your teaching. I mean, I wouldn't rate it a 5-star if I see no improvement. It's because I see the improvement, that's why I rate it a 5-star. You taught me bio, I learned from you, I apply into my exams, I get my A1, I'm happy, I rate it a 5-star.
So in summary, that's weekly lessons, WhatsApp help, notes, crash course clips, past lesson recordings, flashcards, and practice papers. In total, that's worth $4,000 plus $200 per week. Now, let me ask you a question. If all this did for you was give you an A1 in bio, would it be worth it? And parents, if all this did was secure your child an A1 in bio, would it be worth it? Now, here's the shocking thing. To join our class, it's only going to be $95 per week. So you're only paying for the weekly lessons, and this is at the rate of the most popular option, which is the quarterly payment option. And we're giving everything else free of charge. We are severely undercharging on our resources, and in the near future, likely to increase our prices on them. For a limited time, we're giving the entire FastTrack system for free as a privilege for all the students in our class. I'm sure you have questions at this point, like what are the time slots? Where is the location? Standard versus small VIP group classes, which is something we're rolling out later in 2026. Or the payment and pricing. So please message us with your questions and a real human will reply you as soon as possible. As soon as you message us, even if you don't become one of our students, we're giving you a surprise gift, 2 free premium sample lesson packages. So you can get a taste of how our lessons are like. These are 2 full-length lessons worth $300. They're crash courses of topics students commonly struggle with, nervous system and the eye, and transport in humans. It comes with the lesson recordings and all the worksheets, including answer keys and our lesson inkings. Simply drop us a message and you can claim this free gift. Now, in the event that budget is an issue, we have free and lower cost options that may suit your situation. So message us and we'll see how we can help you in any way possible. However, we have limited spots. Please see the current capacity on our website. Once we hit max capacity for the year, we will not be able to accept any more students. This has happened before in the past, and we sadly had to reject some students even though they desperately needed the help. So I don't want that to happen to you. Please join early in the year. Besides, there's a 10% discount for the first 5 students who enroll at the start of each month. So if that's still available, then go get it now. So if you were on the fence, sign up by clicking the link below this video. Okay, I made a video in the past addressing some frequently asked questions. So I'm going to hand over the time to Pass Me to answer those questions. Alright, so for the rest of this video, I'm going to be addressing frequently asked questions. If you know you want to sign up already, you don't have to stay for this. Okay, first question. I really want to join, but it's expensive. Well, in light of all the resources you're getting, do you still think it's expensive? And let me ask you this, if all this did for you was secure you an A1 or A2 in bio, would it be worth it? Here's what my mother thinks. You see, in JC, I had 4 tuition subjects, and in total, she spent over $11,000 on all my tuition. But without it, I couldn't have gotten the all A's that I scored in my A-levels for sure, because I was dying at many of my subjects. So when she saw the amount, she herself said it was worth it because it gave me all A's in my A-levels. So if you're really lost and want to fix this subject, or maybe you're already doing quite well and you want to secure your A1, then sign up now by clicking the link below this video. Okay, I'm going to address these next 2 questions at once. So some people ask, oh, I want a tutor with very high qualifications and many years of experience. Some people also say, I want to join, but I'm already in another bio tuition. So to answer this, I'm going to bring you back to Gareth. Remember him from earlier? So he was around the B4 range and he managed to get A1 in his prelims and in the O-levels. Now, actually, before he joined us, he used to be with another tuition. And this tutor had a lot of qualifications. She also had more than 10 years of teaching experience. She was an ex-MOE teacher. But in his own words, it wasn't that helpful. The lessons were much slower than needed. He wasn't benefiting much, as shown from his grades. And he said the biggest problem was that answering skills were not taught properly. So that's why he chose to quit that one and join that bio tutor. And in the O-levels, he got A1. Now imagine if he used the excuse of, oh, I already have another bio tuition, that's why I can't switch. How much would he regret it when he sees his O-level results of B3 to B4? So the choice is obvious. This is your O-level grades. Don't leave it to chance. And as for qualifications and years of experience, I hope this shows you that it really doesn't matter if the teaching isn't good. So sign up now by clicking the link below this video. So here's another common question. My bio is not that bad. Let's wait until after the next test, then I see how. Or some students think bio can self-study. So let's address the second one first. There are some students who really do not need help. So if that's you, then all's good. But chances are if you've watched this video until this point, you're probably the kind of student who knows that you need help. You know that your content foundation is shaky. You know that at the rate you're going, you won't get the grades that you want. And as for putting it off to a later time, well, let me tell you a story about my math in JC. So my math had been quite bad the whole way through. I was in denial. So it came a point where I was like, I have no choice, I must take tuition now. So the tuition was 2 hours a week. And before that, they will give you homework. Now, I was so bad, I was so slow, so I took 2 hours to do the homework. After the class, I would have gotten almost all the questions wrong. So I will need to redo the corrections for the homework. So in total, that took me 6 hours a week just for math tuition related, not even school math work yet. Now, why so bad? Because I had pushed it all the way to the end. Delaying it was a huge mistake. I wish I had fixed it earlier. Just imagine what I could have done with the wasted time spent so much on math. So please learn from my mistakes. It will only come back to bite you more viciously later on. Another thing I've noticed is that many students like you wish they had joined our class sooner. Let me show you some examples.
But it was more easygoing. I felt more comfortable, and I was kind of sad I didn't start the class earlier.
I would have preferred if I joined earlier, but I also had my skeptical doubts, but I was like, okay, I need help from Bio, I'm just gonna try. And I think it was a good decision and I don't regret anything. It was a very good experience.
Some students are worried that I know this is a good tuition, but what if I join and then I slack off? Then I won't benefit from it. If this is your concern, just ask yourself, do you sincerely want to improve in bio? If yes, I've never seen a student in our class who never got their wish granted. You also don't have to be perfectly disciplined. In fact, no one is. As long as you put in some effort and sincerely want to improve, you will improve. See, our weekly lessons and our homework will kind of force you to always stay in touch with bio. I'd like you to meet Rui En. So when she came in, she was quite lost. And actually in her testimonial video on our website, she admitted that she wasn't the most consistent or disciplined student. But overall, she still did follow our 3 study secrets, and in the end, she got A2 for O-levels. So even if you're not perfectly disciplined, this won't be a problem. I know I can help you. Now, what if the class size is too big? So our classes can be up to 20 plus students. If you're afraid that you might not be able to ask all your questions, that's not an issue here. I have breaks during our lessons which you can ask. After class, you can also ask. If you're too shy to ask in person, you can just WhatsApp me your questions anytime throughout the week. And in fact, here's what I've noticed. I've taught both larger groups and smaller groups before, and the pros of having a bigger class actually outweighs the cons. You feel awake instead of sleepy. And you guys can discuss in groups when I ask a challenging question. We also can play in teams for our Kahoot games near the end of the class, which is way more fun than just playing individually. So you have more fun and the community motivates you to study hard. So try it out yourself. I'm sure it won't be an issue. Sign up by clicking the link below this video. Hi guys, good news. For the class of 2026 onwards, we're rolling out new VIP classes, where it's maximum 4 students in a small group setting. For availability and time slots, please WhatsApp my team by clicking the link below this video, and we'll get back to you on time slots and availability. Here's another concern, is there a lot of homework? So there are only a few questions each time. I don't believe in overloading you with homework. And to motivate you, every 10 homework that you complete, you get $5 for bubble tea. Yep, so I pay this out of my own pocket because I want to motivate students to do their homework. I know it will benefit them. Just hear what Francis thinks about this.
Definitely be the reward system. Like if you do your homework and you submit, you get rewarded. That's crazy because usually submitting homework is something you're supposed to do. And if you don't submit it, you get scolded. But for that BioTutor, you won't get scolded if you don't do the homework. Instead, you get rewarded if you do the homework, which is pretty motivating.
Okay, what if my schedule clashes or what if it's too far to travel? So firstly, you can choose whichever slot you want. If it's too far, like for some of our students, they prefer to come online instead of traveling. Now, if you have a schedule clash, you're late for class or you completely miss a class, every lesson is recorded. Now, remember Caitlin, near O-levels, she wanted to prioritize other subjects because the exams were first. So she actually skipped our classes on purpose and watched the recordings. Now, she wouldn't have done that if she didn't find our recorded lessons valuable. So I'm sure it won't be an issue for you too. So sign up by clicking the link below this video. Now, what if you want one-to-one tuition? So for me, I had 50 students last year. Imagine if I taught one-to-one. I won't even have time to eat and sleep. So the truth is that all good tutors always have to transition to group class eventually because they're just in such high demand. So if you want the best, group tuition is always where it's at. You see, a one-to-one tutor, it wouldn't make sense for them to create so many resources just for your specific syllabus and level like we have done here. So if you want one-to-one tuition, oftentimes it's more expensive, you don't get as much resources, and the teaching is probably not as good because they're not that specialized. So sign up by clicking the link below this video. Okay, and I feel like some parents might have this question, which is, your class seems too fun. And you might think, is my child going to have too much fun? Is this going to be serious enough? And here's the thing, back when I was in Chinese tuition, it was super serious. It wasn't fun. But I zoned out. Do you think I benefited much? So compare this to when a student feels alive, engaged, excited. They'll be listening, they'll be motivated to put in 2 hours a week of effort and study for this subject. So let's hear what one of my past students, Emily, has to say about this.
Your classes are fun. School, right? Then they'll just read off slides. My previous tuition, the tutor also read off the notes, the printed notes. It felt very dry. There was no excitement.
Okay, thanks past me. So stop struggling with bio anymore. With the right help, A is easy. Sign up now by clicking the link below this video and one of our friendly staff will reply you ASAP. When you get in touch with us, remember that we are also giving you 2 free premium sample lesson packages worth $300, so stay tuned for that.